So in today's video, we're going to look at the winners and losers of the MLB offseason pre-lockout. So we're going to look at who made the big moves before the lockout happened. That's what we're going to look at in today's video. If you want great baseball content throughout the offseason and this lockout, make sure you subscribe to this channel, turn notifications, and leave a like, because this is the place to be on baseball YouTube for great baseball content. Let's go ahead and get into this video. We've got 5 winners, 5 losers. Let's go ahead and get into it. Let's start off with the big W's. Starting off in New York with the Mets. The Mets had a big offseason pre-lockout. The Mets had a really big offseason, made a lot of moves, and Steve Cohen spent some of that, tons of money that he has this offseason. The first guy that he signed was Mark Canna for a 2-year, $26 million deal. He had a very solid season in 2021 with Oakland. 17 home runs, 61 RBIs, a 231 batting average, a 358 on base, 387 slugging, a 746 OPS, and a 111 OPS plus. This guy's never been a guy that's going to hit for a particularly high average, but he's going to give you power, and he's going to be a very solid player coming in. They've got him till his 34-year-old season. Next up, they signed Eduardo Escobar for a pretty solid, cheap deal for the production that they got from Eduardo, or from what the Brewers and Diamondbacks combined got from him in 2021. And he posted 28 home runs, 90 RBIs, and a 253 batting average, 314 on base, 472 slugging, and a 778 OPS and an OPS plus of 109. He had a really good year in 2021. And if they can get him to produce that, whether he's playing third base, second base, first base, wherever he's playing, he's very versatile, can play multiple positions. He can slide in just about anywhere. A very good player for the Mets to have. Next up, the big move, Max Scherzer. Max Scherzer is a guy that they brought in after having such a good, dominant year with the Nationals and the Dodgers. 15-4 last year with a 2.46 ERA, dominated since coming over to LA. 7-0 with a 1.98 ERA. He proved that he can show up in the bigger spotlights. He never really played in a big market till big in LA in 2021. He played in Washington, Detroit, Arizona. Those aren't big markets, but he proved that he could play in that. And he's proved that he will be able to play under the New York spotlight, which not many players can do. And the final one that Steve Cohen made a big splash on is one that I think is underrated, and that's Starlee Martay, who's a one-time All-Star, 2-time Gold Glove winner, who had 12 home runs, 55 RBIs, a 310 batting average, 383 on base, 458 slugging, 841 OPS, and an OPS plus of 132. They're not going to bring Javi Baez or Michael Conforto back. They probably need to look at least probably one more rotation arm, and this Mets offseason is complete. They had a really good offseason, and yeah. Next up's the Texas Rangers, and the Rangers made 2 particularly big moves, signing Marcus Simeon and Corey Seeger this offseason, or pre-lockout. Simeon had a fantastic 2021. He was the best second baseman in all of baseball, in my opinion. 45 home runs, 102 RBIs, a 265 batting average, posting a 334 on base percentage, a 538 slugging, an 873 OPS, and an OPS plus of 133. Had a really good year, a great move for the Rangers to bring him in, and he's going to play second base for this team. And Corey Seager is going to come in as well as their shortstop. They got 2 of the big 5 shortstops on the market this year. Corey Seager, once again, a great player. They paid a lot of money for these guys. And he had 16 home runs, 57 RBIs, and a 306 batting average, 394 on base, 521 slugging, and 915 OPS. But that's in a shorter season frame as well. He wasn't able to play the whole season. And the final guy that they got that was a key name was John Gray of the Colorado Rockies. So I think it's only going to get better going to Texas. He had an 8-12 record with a 4.59 ERA in 2021 with Colorado. I think he'll only get better going there, getting out of Coors Field. He's only going to get better. Next up, the Mariners. I think they had a really good offseason as well with 2 key additions. The first one being Robbie Ray, who had a Cy Young in 2021, a one-time All-Star, and an ERA title. 13-7 with a 2.84 ERA in 2021. Has a career ERA of 4, so on that. But he posted 6.7 more in 2021. He had a really solid season, a great season for him, and yeah. And the next guy that they acquired from the San Diego Padres was Adam Frazier. Adam Frazier had a very good year. Now, Adam Frazier is never going to hit for power, so you don't want him to hit for power, really. 5 home runs, 43 RBIs, and a 305 batting average with 368 on base percentage, 411 slugging, and a 779 OPS, and an OPS plus of 114. Adam Frazier had a really good year as well. Those were 2 really, really good moves for the Seattle Mariners. And that's for a team that already had 90 wins in 2021. Next up, we head over to Miami for the Marlins. The Marlins have made some big moves this offseason. And the Marlins obviously don't spend a lot, but I think they spent at the right time this time. Addisel Garcia is the first guy that they got he was with the Brewers. The Brewers, with the Brewers in 2021, 29 home runs, 86 RBIs, and a 262 batting average, 330 on base percentage, of 490 slugging, and a 820 OPS, and an OPS plus of 117. Garcia had a really good year. The next guy that they got via trade was Joey Wendle. Wendle, another guy that had a very solid year in 2021 with the other team in Florida, the Tampa Bay Rays, 11 home runs, 54 RBIs, a 265 batting average, 319 on base percentage, of 422 slugging, a 741 OPS, and an OPS plus of 110. Joey Wendle had a really good year. He can play just about anywhere in the infield besides first base, and he can play some outfield as well if they need that. And the final one is Jacob Stallings. Now, they could have went for somebody like Wilson Contreras, who definitely would have provided more offensively. He's a great defensive catcher, just not going to provide a lot offensively, to be honest. He only posted 8 home runs, 53 RBIs, and a 246 batting average with a 335 on base percentage, a 369 slugging, and a 704 OPS, and an OPS plus of 92 in 2021. And the final winner of the MLB offseason, I'm going to go with the Toronto Blue Jays. They landed a big starter in free agency, and that was about it. They did lose Marcus Simeon, the best second baseman in all of baseball, but they definitely made a key move getting Kevin Gossman from the San Francisco Giants. He was an all-star in 2021, posting a 14-6 record with a 2.81 ERA in San Francisco. They have one of the better rotations in baseball right now with Kevin Gossman. Obviously, you lose Robbie Ray, but you get another Cy Young type player. Jose Barrios, Alex Manoah. You've got a lot of different players there. A lot of great starters. And they have showed interest in guys like Seiya Suzuki and other guys that they possibly could get a deal done with. And the next thing is our losers. The Los Angeles Dodgers are a clear loser in the offseason. They lost Corey Seager and Max Scherzer, which is a big loss. A very big loss for this Dodgers team. You lose a lot here. You didn't sign anybody but Andrew Heaney either. The Dodgers, they're definitely still a very good team. Like, they still could definitely win the NL West next year. But the Dodgers lost a lot in free agency. I think the reason that Corey Seager was not brought back was definitely because they wanted to give Gavin Lux some more playing time, if we're being honest. And he and Trey Turner can slide over to short, they brought back Chris Taylor, which is a good move. But still, you definitely are lacking some depth in the rotation. But when Dustin May comes back and maybe Trevor Bauer, that helps. They got Daniel Hudson as well. That's about it. It's still an L of an offseason for them. Next up's the New York Yankees. The Yankees had another L of an offseason. The Yankees, I don't know what they're doing. They seem to be interested in a lot of guys, but just never really pull the string. They haven't got a shortstop yet. They're going to be stuck with Glaber still. Didn't get Corey Seager. They've still yet to really do much about their pitching woes and the problems there. The only really signing that they've had on the major league levels, Jose Peraza. Yeah, that's pretty depressing of an offseason for the Yankees. They need starting pitching and a shortstop, and they've done absolutely nothing. Next up is the San Francisco Giants. They have lost quite a bit this offseason. Obviously, you lose their number one in Kevin Gossman, but that shows how much they really think how good they think Logan Webb's going to be. With him being the number one slotted in the rotation right now, Alex Cobb's the guy that they brought in via free agency. He's 34 years old. They'll see what they can do with him. Maybe he's an Alex Wood, Anthony DeSclafani type player who can make a big impact in 2021. But yeah, that's about all the moves they made. Obviously, you lose Posey as well. who was a great player for them in 2021. And the next team is the Brewers. The Brewers, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me what the Brewers have done this offseason. They've let two of their better hitters last year go in Avistil Garcia, who you've got a replacement for in Hunter Renfroe. But you also let Eduardo Escobar go. This lineup is nowhere near good. Even if you put Hunter Renfroe in this lineup, it's still nowhere near really good at all. They still have a lot of hitting woes that they just have not fixed. It's pretty simple. That's their only problem. If they can get the hitters to perform, then they're going to be a really good team. But if not, they're going to be in for another disappointing year in Milwaukee. And the final one is the Philadelphia Phillies. The Phillies have not made really many moves this offseason either. I like the move of Corey Knebel. I thought that was a good move, bringing a closer in who's 30 years old. I felt that was a pretty good move. They still need starting pitching help. They still need quite a bit of help offensively as well. So this team definitely still needs a lot of help, and they kind of haven't addressed that pre-lockout. So yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and turn notifications because like I said, if you want great baseball content throughout the lockout and the offseason, this is the place to be. So go ahead and subscribe, turn notifications, and leave a like. Thank you for watching, and peace.